tweeted at Greta Thunberg when she spoke at the United Nations. In her speech, Greta called out world leaders for making empty promises about climate change with no action. Who is this 16-year-old that Trump tweeted about? Her name is Greta Thunberg, and she's a climate change activist. She sailed across the Atlantic Ocean in a zero-emission sailboat to speak at the United Nations. In her 4.5-minute speech at the UN has gotten the attention of world leaders. She spoke about the 50% cut on CO2 emissions and how it needs to be more drastic, or else we won't hit our goal of 1.5 degrees Celsius. The 1.5 degrees Celsius temperature is the established shipping point by the United Nations. If we hit this, we'll have irreversible climate change that would cause irreversible effects. These effects will cause significant temperature changes, unusual weather events, food scarcity, extinction, and rising sea levels. And all these things will affect our generation. In the conclusion of Greta's speech, she says, "You are failing us, but the young people are starting to understand your betrayal. The eyes of the future generation are upon you. And if you choose to fail us, I say we will never forgive you. We are this generation Greta is talking about. We are the ones that are supposed to bring change." On September 20th and 27th, people from over 150 countries striked for climate change, and Greta Thunberg led many of them in the US. How did Greta get to where she is, and what is she fighting for? Greta first learned about climate change when she was 8 years old. She is diagnosed with Asperger's, OCD, and selective mutism. She credits this for her intense dedication and passion to fight against climate change. In her TED Talk, she said, "I speak when I need to speak," and she's speaking about climate change. She first got her start by sitting in front of the Parliament on a Friday of August 20th of 2018. She gained some media coverage over that day, and she decided to come back. And she sat there for 21 days to, with that sign that said, "School strike for climate." She was sometimes joined by people, but this was mainly an individual strike. She credits this idea of staging school walkouts from the Parkland shooting walkouts. And in November, she went on TED Talk Sweden, and she didn't blame humans for intentionally polluting the earth. She blamed it on lack of education. Most humans haven't seen direct climate change effects, and we haven't seen the regulations in place either, so we kind of see it as not being there. She urged the audience to think of our generation and the generations after us and what type of life we wanted them to live. She described 2018 as the tipping point and how if we didn't change, the future generations would look back at us and say, "Why didn't we change when we could?" Lastly, she stated the climate crisis has already been solved. We already have the inventions. We just need to put them in action. And that we need action instead of hope for a better future. Greta and her actions have gained more and more coverage, and this September we saw her speaking at the United Nations, as I previously referenced. Along with her speech at the UN, she spoke at the People's Climate March rally. When she spoke at the UN, the world heard. She demanded swift action on climate change. She's tired of world leaders talking with no action. There shouldn't be just talking. We are in a mass extinction. Since her speech, Greta has spoken and participated in multiple speeches around the country. She spoke around 3, but there's 800 plans. The people, the press, and our world leaders have heard Greta Thunberg and her dedication to climate change. Through Greta's activism in Sweden and in the world, she has brought change. Greta is fighting for the future of our generation and shows that anyone can inspire change. We all have the power to bring change and secure an environmentally friendly future for us and the ones after us. All right.